Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-bits on Business and Finance with me. The most important segment of the Indian economy, according to us, is the middle class. It is the middle class that generates the consumer demand that drives the economy. In fact, consumer demand constitutes 60% of India's GDP. And because demand has dipped of late, even India's GDP growth has gone down of late. If the middle class consumers do not buy, the sales and profits of corporates go down, as we are seeing in the case of Maruti Udyog, because consumers have not been buying cars, consumers have not been buying two-wheelers, and the sales and profits of these companies have been going down. So consumer demand matters. But of late, what we've been noticing is that because of unemployment being at a 45-year high and the MSME segment, which represents the middle class entrepreneur of India, the MSME segment also struggling, household incomes have gone down, consumer demand has gone down, and that threatens to derail India's ambitious economic growth plan. If consumer demand or if middle class income has gone down, so has the wealth of the middle class. One of the most important assets in the middle class wealth is their investment in house property, their dream house that they buy with their lifelong savings. This asset constitutes the core. It is at the heart of the middle class wealth, and it represents their safety, security, and also at certain times it represents their pension in old age. And this wealth has gone down of late. There has been a prolonged slump in the real estate market in India for the last 7 years. Prices of real estate have crumbled. Now, a slump in the real estate markets is a routine cyclical affair. It takes place, it comes, it goes. Real estate prices dip at that point of time, but they also bounce back later on. And when they bounce back, they make up for the lost years. And in the process, they reinforce the faith of the middle class that real estate is by far their safest wealth, their safest investment. This time, it's been a prolonged slump, and the dip in prices has not just been heavy, but when will the prices start rising is also a question mark. It has also always been believed that because of India's rising population, the demand for houses will go up. And the middle class, for that reason, has all the more had faith in investment in real estate. So, real estate investment was their core. It has dipped of late. Generally, when there have been cyclical downturns in the real estate prices, housing finance companies in India did not suffer. These companies had given loans to the middle class to buy their houses. But in those times, there was no rising unemployment. There was no stress in the MSME segment. So the middle class household income did not suffer in those cyclical downturns, even though real estate prices may have gone down. This time, both have suffered. Their income has suffered, their wealth has eroded. When will the wealth prices, which is asset prices, go up, we don't know. And in real terms, there has been an erosion in the wealth of the middle class. Yet another popular asset with the middle class has been investment in shares. The capital market investment represents another significant part of the middle class wealth of India, and that has also suffered. It has suffered because many companies have been found to be fraudulent. Take the case of ILFS, take the case of Sterling Biotech, or take companies like Jet Airways with questionable financial statements. The shareholders of these companies have lost heavily. Probably their wealth will never come back. On the other hand, there have been cases of doctoring of financial statements. Take the investments of shareholders, the middle class shareholders in public sector banks, in private sector banks like Yes Bank, Axis Bank, etc., where because of mismanagement, manipulation of financial statements, which is now out in the open, the investment wealth of the middle class shareholder has been eroded. And when will it start coming back is a big question mark. Or there are instances of sectors being in a downfall, like the diamond sector. Shareholders again have lost wealth. So for a host of reasons, except in a few cases of companies, shareholder wealth has been decimated of late, and so bad has it been that we really don't know when will it come back to its past glory, when will market prices be restored, such that the confidence of the ordinary middle class shareholder in the share market will also be restored. You will recall that those small cap companies in which shareholders are invested, they have fallen flat. In the case of companies where corporate profits have dipped, all in all, the value of the middle class wealth in the capital markets has also dipped. What is going to make it worse for this segment of the middle class wealth is the fact that in the current budget, the finance minister has provided that the minimum public shareholding in companies must go up from 25% to 35%. And that means shares of a value of at least 4.5 lakh crores will be unloaded by promoters in the capital markets in the coming years. We don't know how much time SEBI is going to give, but the fact remains is, the reality is that shares of such a large amount will enter the market. The supply for shares of these companies will shoot up. The demand may not keep pace, and erosion in share value will take place even further. When to recover is anybody's guess. Apart from these reasons, the middle class has lost its wealth in the MSME segments, where enterprises are struggling to survive, and the very business capital of the middle class in the MSME sector is at risk. Another point of segment where the middle class has lost its wealth in Ponzi scams. We are not really discussing that much, but that has also been a reason for the erosion of the middle class wealth. So at the moment, the economy is in a downturn, unemployment reigns, MSME sectors are in a problem, income has been eroded, but substantial erosion in the wealth of the middle class has also taken place. The real issue that now emerges is, while there has been a huge dip in the wealth of the middle class, their expenses against it remain what they are. The middle class still has to spend on marriages, it still has to spend on children's education, it still has to spend on medical treatment of the family. So while the expenses remain as they are, the wealth has dipped, and that might just mean that the debt that the middle class may have to incur will go up. India's middle class has generally been in a situation of reasonable debt. It has not been in a huge debt trap, and this situation might just get the middle class into a debt trap, never to get out of it. A matter of concern and a huge national crisis, perhaps in the offing, unless steps are taken in time to restore the value of the middle class wealth of India. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.